Let's podcast alongside Joe Giglio. I'm Joe Ovies inside Eford Studios in downtown Raleigh. Thanks to Empire Properties and thanks to Copiers Plus. Check them out online at copiers-plus.com. Print management, document management, get your stuff to the cloud, and save money in 2025. That's a key thing. Be the small to medium-sized business hero with saving money with our friends at Copiers Plus. I thanked our friends at Empire Properties. I thank all of our corporate champions. I do not thank you, Bill Belichick and North Carolina. I feel like this game of chicken has evolved into a game of chicken between me and when we decide to start recording this podcast, Joe.
I like that.
I don't like it. You know me. I'm structure. I'm routine.
We can talk about it both ways.
Let me live my life.
We can talk about it both ways. Just pick what side you want first. He takes the job.
Belichick watch.
Oh, I stepped all over that.
It's fine. We'll do it again.
Belichick watch.
Talk about it both ways. How do you want to start? That he takes the job? Let's talk about that.
I guess
he doesn't take the job. We can talk about that.
I don't think he's taking the job. I mean, heck, man. Let me go to head. This came from Rap Sheet. All right, Ian Rappaport. Let me see if I can pull this up on the threads. Threads tends to be a little on the funky side sometimes. Hold on a second. Let me go ahead and present this on the StreamYard because Threads video production stinks. Here we go.
So here's where it stands now. Here's my understanding of the situation between Bill Belichick and North Carolina. It sounds like if Bill Belichick decided he wanted the job, it sounds like there'd be a pretty good chance he would get it. Sounds like they could figure out coaching and staffing and salaries and money in the portal and all the things. Sounds like if he wants it, he could for sure get it. Now, he's going to want a perfect situation. He's going to want a place he could win. He's going to want a staff he can win with. And, you know, like he explained on the Pat McAfee show, I believe he'd set it up like the NFL, where he had essentially a GM. He had someone helping him with recruiting. He'd kind of be the CEO and build the program the right way. You know, does it end up happening? I don't know. Everything's going to have to be perfect, but it is real. It is legit. I would expect a resolution soon. And if you told me Bill Belichick ended up as North Carolina coach, I would not be surprised in the least, but certainly we are not there just yet.
Yeah, so this thing's all over the place. I think it's interesting the framing of how the NFL insiders and those who truly cover North Carolina are playing it very close to the chest, whereas everywhere else, which is typical, this is typical in any college coaching search. I learned this lesson 20 some odd years ago. Be wary of where the reports are coming from, straight up. Like for me, if Inside Carolina, Tar Heel Illustrated, the News and Observer, or in this particular case, a national person like Pete Thamel at ESPN or an NFL insider specific to Bill Belichick, I'm not really going to go all in on it. Okay. So there's the framing of all this going on right now. There's also the framing as though Bill Belichick, let's get into let's say he takes the job.
Belichick watch.
There's this framing that somehow he's going to revolutionize college athletics as if people within college athletics aren't paying attention to what's happening at Alabama, what's happening at Texas, what's happening at Georgia, what's happening at Oregon, this idea of this professionalization of college athletics, college football. Well, that's already happening. I mean, heck, this week alone, Dan Wetzel at Yahoo Sports has an entire feature on the arms race to get the GM. You know, like the strength and conditioning coach used to be the guy that got the bag at these universities. Now it's the GM that's handling all the financial aspects of NIL. You know, again, the changing landscape of all this stuff. A little bit of breaking news as we hit record. I told you yesterday, chill out on the Malik Murphy stuff at Duke because you don't know how it's going to play out. They might have a plan. Sure enough, we get the report from Pete Thamel initially yesterday that Tulane transfer, Darian Mensah, was visiting. Who did I see at Cameron Indoor Stadium last night? That's a real good way to convince somebody to show up on your campus. Sure enough, Pete Thamel following it up. Transfer QB, Darian Mensah, top-rated player in ESPN's transfer portal rankings, has committed to Duke. Duke has been very upfront about how they've changed their back end and GMs and how they want to go. We talked about Nina King and Manny Diaz and how they're trying to build a different mousetrap. So this idea that Bill Belichick is going to revolutionize college sports by having this 400-page Bible, this operations manual. I mean, look, man, I'm here to tell you that these other universities who are truly all in on college football have been doing it to lead up to this point.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's any doubt in my mind if Bill Belichick becomes North Carolina's coach. A couple things. I think he'll do it for 1 year.
Okay.
I look at their schedule, and I see them going 9-3, 10-2.
Okay.
Their schedule is extremely manageable. I wrote this for OG fans, and I mean this. They will never lose a game because of Bill Belichick. What a luxury that is.
Right.
They lost 8 games under Mac Brown 2.0 as a double-digit favorite.
Mm-hmm.
That is coaching malpractice. So you go from someone who, quite frankly, couldn't coach to now the guy who can only really coach.
Mm-hmm.
And sure, he can come in and say, I'm going to set it up this way. We're going to be the NFL pipeline, blah, 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 blah.
Sure.
Okay. I say this confidently. And knowing they'll lose Amari and Hampton and they'll bring somebody else in, they'll have some talented players. Again, they're not going to beat themselves. Do I think, Bill Belichick's going to come in here and win the national championship for North Carolina football or even the ACC championship for Carolina football? I do not.
Yeah.
Do I think this helps North Carolina? Honestly, I think it helps them if he coaches them for 1 year. Potentially it helps them. But ultimately, I think his motivations, if he comes here, his motivations are to set his son up to be the coach at North Carolina, to follow him. And his motivations are to come in here, coach 1 year and show, hey, look at me. I can still do it.
Yeah.
And then go to the NFL. Because again, now the skeptic in me says you're 14 wins away from the all-time NFL record. You're 72 years old. You might feel great. You might think you're Ben Roethlisberger and you're in the best shape of your life, all those things. But ultimately, why would you waste any of your time when you're in pursuit of an actual record and not, whatever this might be?
Here's the thing, though. If you're Carolina, why do you sign off on that? That's the other thing about this that I'm really confused by. Carolina's already tried this once to get real serious about college football. They brought in Butch Davis. It affected basketball, and they got up at the paint. You talk about these financials and the funneling of money and how you're going to operate these things and have a completely different staff and hire all these people. I mean, how many times have we talked about Bubba Cunningham and the books and house settlements, and there's not an infinite pile of cash. And the thing about Carolina is this is not about Bill Belichick and whether or not he could work in college. That's not what it's about. I just don't think it'll work there because North Carolina does not really give me the indication that they've ever truly been serious about college football, and that the political aspects of this, the behind the scenes Game of Thrones stuff, which has affected coaches in the past, isn't somehow going to affect Bill Belichick. And if you think, on one hand, I respect Bill Belichick because he's stripping away the BS, right? He's stripping away the BS of college football. I respect that out of him. But here's the problem. There's too many people in college athletics that still believe the BS. And I'm not,
including at North Carolina.
I'm not quite sure that that's going to be a good fit. If you told me that Bill Belichick was going to be doing this,
it doesn't matter. It's a one-off run.
Oh, okay,
that's it. If he takes the job, it's for 1 year.
That's fair.
1 season.
That's fair.
And also, I'm disappointed in myself for not thinking more like Bill Belichick. Because you got to start thinking like Bill Belichick a little bit.
Pulling the Jets,
and you better look at that contract. Because
that's probably why it's taking so long.
If his primary motivation is to set it up for his son to replace him, then you ain't thinking of the guy who was filming walkthroughs. You're not thinking of the guy who was worried about ball pressure. You're not thinking about the guy who was thinking of formations where he could put linemen out that the NFL had to change. You're not the guy pouring over the rule book that says, hey man, we can commit a delay a game penalty, then we can commit a holding penalty, then we can commit a procedural penalty, and all while bleeding the clock out. That's Bill Belichick's brain. You're not thinking like him. Who's to say Bill Belichick doesn't put in this contract, my son replaces me if I'm here for 1 day, 1 week, 1 month, 2 months.
Yeah.
And he takes the job, magically retires after the spring game or after the NFL combine and becomes the Giants coach or the Jets coach or whoever wants him in the NFL. If you're not thinking like Bill Belichick, you're putting yourself in a bad position.
We're going to keep this segment short because I don't want to spend too much time talking about Bill Belichick because we're still in this weird holding pattern. But I do want to give you the fun and frivolity of a coaching search.
Belichick Watch.
You know how we've referenced the 06 coaching search a lot, and the 06 NC State coaching search gave birth to flight-aware tracking and how that impacts coaching searches. I shout out Ross Martin, the big hitter. He's in the new era of how to identify what could be happening through the internet. And it's all about Belichick's girlfriend on Instagram following the universities, football, nutrition, all that stuff. What does it mean? I also want to give a shout out to Stephen Gottfried, Split Zone Duo. tweeted this out yesterday afternoon. In the last 24 hours, 2 different people in the industry described the current North Carolina search as Tennessee 2017. Some people will get this reference. Some people won't. If it's Tennessee 2017, Dave Doran's sitting right there.
Well, also Tennessee 2017, Bubba gets fired. Mac becomes the AD.
Ooh.
And then Mac hires whoever.
Ooh.
Belichick watch.
And finally, this is from Diana Rossini at The Athletic. Quote, "We should be understanding and show a little patience. This is the first time a college football program has been this deep into negotiations with a 72-year-old 6-time Super Bowl champion head coach. But I woke up Wednesday morning to a text from a source close to Bill Belichick with a simple message, almost done." So after 24 years with the New England Patriots as one omnipresent media member, and as a omnipresent media member, Bill Belichick could be going back to school. If, as expected, this happens on Wednesday, or if it doesn't, you can stop by The Athletic, blah, 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 blah. I will say this. I know they have been set up for a press conference in Chapel Hill since Monday. It's now Wednesday at 11:20 a.m. I'm about to wrap things up because today's all Tarantino'd out, okay? We recorded this part at the end because I waited, and I waited, and I waited because we're on.
Belichick watch.
Are we back, or are we back later today, Joe?
I mean, I feel like the only way, if we have to come back, we come back. I don't see the University of North Carolina taking a 400-page manifesto to the way that it was intended, right?
Like, I viewed it as
here's a list of demands,
right?
And they're non-negotiable,
right?
And I can only stress this enough: if the Sun portion of it is non-negotiable, I don't see how that is a thing that ends well for the University of North Carolina.
So I'm going to table.
I don't, and that's not about like, oh my God, you're a hater. Oh my God, you're the worst. You're this. You're that. This, that, and the other. I'm sitting here straight up telling you, if he comes and coaches, you're going to go 9-3 at worst, and 10-2 probably at best. Heck, you might even make the playoff at 10-2 next year. But the truth of the matter is, it's a one-off. Even if he comes, I don't know how that helps you. And maybe you're like, oh, we'll be set up. We'll be financially ready.
You're supposed to be set up after
We'll be
Mac.
a pipeline. We'll be this. We'll be that. And it's just kind of like
that's what Mac was supposed to do. And if Mac Brown, my last point, if Mac Brown was already complaining to anybody who would listen about how the university wasn't doing enough to support football financially, how do you think Bill Belichick, who wants, as Ian Rappaport said, a perfect situation, how is that going to play out in Chapel Hill? And look, man, I want to be really, really clear about this. From a content perspective, I'm absolutely all on board with Bill Belichick. All on board. Like, give it to me. Like, I see the numbers. Okay. I'm drinking from the YouTube SEO fountain. All right. So don't get me wrong. You know my rule on this. I root for the show. Always have, always will. And Bill Belichick in Chapel Hill is good for business. I want it. But the logical part of my brain just doesn't see it. And we got a lot of other college football stuff that we can table for tomorrow. I mean, we got Joel Klatt talking about college football committee manipulation to benefit SMU.
Ooh.
We got Ross Dellinger on CFP changes. We got more portal drama. We got a guy, NBA owner, who wants to completely buy a college department, right?
I sent you that one.
I mean, we got all sorts of crazy stuff, but we're playing this game of chicken.
Belichick watch.
Let's get to the rest of the show.
Housekeeping.
And it's brought to you by Enovana. Check them out online at enovana.com. They came to the house yesterday. Maybe you want them to come to your house. One-time special cleaning if you want. It's the holidays, so head on over to enovana.com. Green Cleaning Solutions, Joe.
If you have mess inside your mansion or trash in your cabana, get it clean with Enovana.
So we got the Basketball Jones with our friend Bomani Jones at the Rialto, January 31st. It's going to be a hell of a lot of fun. We're going to have Marcus Ginyard there, Tyler Hansbrough there. There will be old stories. Maybe, Joe, that's the day that we sit down and we explain to you the John Calipari 6.
Okay.
Since there's been so many references to the 2006 NC State basketball coaching search when Herb Sendek left for the desert, maybe that's when we decide to do a deep dive on that for our audience. Who knows? We're still workshopping that. But go to therialto.com today to buy your tickets. Head on over to, hey, it's Christmas. Give the gift of Bomani Jones and friends.
Go.
Or you can give the gift of the OG. Go to breakingt.com/OG to see the Ovies and Giglio collection. You got our Dead Conference. You got the OG flag. We got all sorts of goodies and really comfortable shirts and hoodies with our stuff on it. And right now, when you go to Breaking Tea and buy one of our shirts, use the promo code OG, just OG at checkout, and Breaking Tea will throw in a free mystery shirt. Just name the city.
Mystery?
Mystery. It's a mystery. What could it be?
Who doesn't love a mystery?
So go check that out. You get a free shirt from Breaking Tea when you use that promo code OG plus 10% off your OG shirt. Speaking of the OG, we got another OG tailgate coming up this Sunday. We got a weather policy for Sunday?
No.
We're just going to tailgate regardless?
No. You sound like my wife. We got married and she was like, it was outdoor venue.
Yeah.
She comes down. This is 2001. She literally printed out the weather forecast and circled it and said, do something about this. I was like, what do you want me to do? What are you not going to call God? What do you want me to do? We made a plan. This is where we're going to be.
Fair enough. All right.
We get rained on. We get rained on.
All right. We get rained on. We get rained on. It is what it is. Speaking of making plans, do I have some plans for you? Why don't you make a nice evening in downtown Raleigh? It's going to start at Longleaf Swine in downtown Raleigh. Have a smash burger, have some barbecue, have whatever specials they might. Sometimes they bring out the fried catfish, which is fantastic. All that is at longleafswine.com. You can check out their menu. Better yet, just go. They have an incredible bourbon selection, great cocktails, and an awesome beer list as well. So go to Longleaf for dinner, may I suggest. And then you go up to our friends at Two Roosters. TwoRoosters.com is a website. Get yourself any number of Christmas goodies that are in rotation right now. Maybe make plans for a holiday party where you're going to get a Yule log. 12 days of mystery flavors.
How about our guy, Dimitri, coming through last night? Sends me a picture of the Slavin Sunday.
Good for him.
From the Lenovo Center. I said, look at you finding religion. Look at good work.
I love that. Learn corporate synergy, Dimitri. That's what it's all about. And then you're thinking to yourself, all right, well, Joe, you've got dinner plans already made for me. All right, cool. Dessert at Two Roosters after the fact. Okay, cool. But what am I going to wear?
Ooh.
I suggest you wear something comfortable, but also stylish. That is Rowback. We're rocking the Rowback right now.
Yeah, look at us.
Look at Joe and his quarter zip.
Couple marks.
How about that? Go to rowback.com. Use that promo code OG20 to get any number of comfortable pants, hoodies, quarter zips, polos. Everything is great. The dad in your life is going to love the polo. Straight up. Ties, socks, those are out, man. That's so 80s.
Get him out of here.
Get out of here. That's so 80s. Get him a Rowback polo with a cool graphic on it. So head on over to rowback.com. Use that promo code OG20. Joining us on the Heister Automotive Group Hotline, national champion coach, UNC Women's Soccer, Damon Nahas, joining us now. Congratulations. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you. Thanks for having me, guys.
Greater accomplishment, beating Duke and Wake Forest on the way to a College Cup, or getting Joe Giglio to wear something UNC related on this podcast?
Is that even, what you can answer that for me. The championship, it's not even, I've forgotten about it already. It's more than Joe. I kept that picture. That'll be a screensaver for me, for sure. So, you're laughing, but that's the truth.
No, I know.
That's loyalty. That's like, I value that. Like I had to do a double take on that. I was really proud of it. I don't know. I was wondering though, if that was a still shot and then he took it off and then went on air.
No, I did the whole episode. I bought it too. I supported the University of North Carolina. I
love it, man.
Purchased it on goheels.com.
Oh man.
Because
you paid us.
What you're missing here, Damon, and it's been I don't know. We're 50, so it's been 25, 20, 30 years.
30 years.
But what you're missing here is there's nothing in this world that I enjoy more than being right. And the second I saw the news that Anson Dorrance had done you a solid, and we'll talk about this, I said, it is the year of the wolf. You are the wolf blood. You will win this national championship, and you will leave them with no choice other than to make the greatest decision that would bring more joy, not only to me, but of course, our mentor, George Tarantini. I just thought of that. I was like, oh, this is going to happen. I had a vision. And it comes true.
I need you to have that vision again next year. So let's go back.
Hey man, there is a standard at your place. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie to you. But what kind of conversations did you have with Anson? A lot of people obviously have compared this to when Dean Smith had stepped away. So and set up Bill Guthridge in a way for him to take over that program. What were your kind of interactions with him in maybe the 24, 48 hours up to him actually deciding, it was time for him to call it a career and turn this thing over to you?
Yeah, I think, even when I first came on there, I think in leading up to it, he was really looking at like a 3-year window for him before he was going to retire. And I think, he had, when I came on, which I have a lot of respect for. He felt like it was a time and age where he needed something to change within the program for all their success. And so he kind of gave me the reins in so many respects, training and recruiting and all that. And for someone to have all the success that he had, that's not very common, right? People, the egos get involved and all that. And he just wanted the program to succeed for a long time. So with that said, a lot of the things went off his plate. And he kept enjoying it more and more and more. And it gave him a greater lifespan of wanting to keep doing it. So like, we would joke, my wife would be like, so how much longer? What, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, 6? So with that said, as we got to the point, he never told me exactly when, but he got back. He went on vacation really for the first time in his life with his family for an extended vacation to Italy. And when he came back, and this was in July, when he came back, I felt like something was different. I felt like he was at peace with something. I felt like he had the best time and almost like, wow, this is what I can do with my time. And then it was the lead up. We told the team on the Sunday, or he did on the 12th. I knew on that Friday, as did the AD. And he just told me it's time. And we had so many conversations years prior to what it could look like, but not necessarily know when. And then he told the AD, and then our chancellor was being announced to get rid of his tag on that Friday. So they didn't want to announce it on Friday to do it together. And then we waited a few days and then told the team on Sunday. And then Monday was the press conference. And then we flew to Colorado on Tuesday.
So for people who aren't familiar, you played soccer at NC State. And I was just telling Joe, I think the last time we really had gotten together was when you got the Cardinal Gibbons job.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, at the old school.
Yeah, I was going to say, this is the old Gibbons, man, the true cradle of coaching.
We had trailers and everything. I remember.
Mm-hmm.
So, you end up working your way up. And so now you're involved with U.S. soccer. And you mentioned that we all know Anson, he has the greatest resume of anyone's ever coached in college sports, period. Pick a sport, doesn't matter. He has that resume. But to your point, Carolina you got to work on your email over there. You and Ovies are hanging out together.
Oh, sorry.
It's okay.
To your point though, Carolina, I'm going to say this: the last time Anson won it was 13, which is an eternity. So he brings you on 9 years ago, and as a way to kind of boost and reshape the program in a way. And I mean, that's kind of a crazy thing to think about.
Yeah.
I think of you as a state guy, but I'm guessing he thought of you more as the U.S. soccer guy than the state guy.
Yeah, 100%. And for me, it was just an opportunity. I mean, he had asked me for 2 years prior to me accepting the position, and I declined for 2 years. I was so involved in the development. I still have my academy to this day. I'm 25 years in, and my technical academy. And I was with U.S. Soccer heavy, and I was going through the process, and I declined each year. He said it. He asked me, and I didn't know if I was going to get that development itch in college. I just didn't know. And then it was 2 years in, and then he asked me again, and my wife is the one that really pushed me to do it. She's like, "Why not? You got to try it." And everything that Anson said, he took us to dinner. You just trust in it, and I made the decision to go about it. He just really wanted to take the program to a different level based on where. It wasn't in a bad place, but how do we re-energize it? How do we add new ideas and all that kind of stuff combined with fuse what has been so important to him within the core of the program. And I'm just so thankful for his, trust and belief in me. And, even though the team hasn't won since 2012, prior to this last one, we were in the finals, the championship game 3 times prior to that. People keep saying drought, but, look at what's happened in the last 6-7 years. There's not many teams that even come close to where we've been. In each of those, we lost our best players during each of those runs, in prior to that run into the tournament. So it's just been an extraordinary ride, and ultimately, I'm just thankful that we came to an end this past season.
It hasn't been all champagne and roses either. There's a lot of turnover roster wise. I know there was some hand wringing and some very real questions about the future of the program, last summer. How did you kind of get the group to get together? Just seeing some of the clips and seeing some of the highlights, they've talked about, like, it wasn't a particularly deep team that you've had. You did have a lot of turnover. You had to kind of make it work without maybe the numbers that you would prefer. Just kind of how was your group able to handle actual adversity this year?
Yeah, it's interesting. Like post, last season, lost, it was a devastating loss. People would forget we lost in the Elite Eight. We were 45 minutes from going to, a Final Four, and we had 11 girls from our team last year go pro, right? Which is enough to have to deal with. And we had a whole other handful that went in the transfer portal, and I'd say 2 of those were players that played significant minutes. So yeah, it was really this whole reworking, and then everybody knows our business, right? So even when I'm going recruiting and coaches and all that kind of stuff, it's people have a lot to say. They go through that process, and people are going to assume and want the demise, and no one really wishes it well. Like enough people to know what's being said, and
AKA the dynasty's over. You don't want to go there. It's over.
Sure. We deal with, like, when we're in recruiting, we don't even talk about other schools. Like, we don't negatively recruit. There's zero of that. But I can tell you most schools do against us. And that's something that goes on. And I know that because kids that we recruit that commit to us, they share with us what these other schools do. And that to me is something that you learn along the way. So when people know your business, there's so much outside noise. And then we had 10 there was only 1 starter that returned this year to us, 1. And the core girls that stayed, it was a challenge for them because some of their close friends had moved on, whether pro or had transferred. And it was really just a matter of, like, trust. It was really an individual platform in the spring, kind of guiding through it. We were playing 8v8 games in the spring. We didn't have any numbers. And there was so much concern. They couldn't really see what was in front of them. And really it just became, I just need you to trust me. Like, I know who's coming in freshman-wise. I know we're going to have to rely on a number of freshmen, but I felt good about who they were. And then it was about picking the right grad transfers to come in. And, those girls, the core girls, believed in it. And we had a long conversation even last night about it. And I'm just proud of them. We're working hard to try and get this to be a documentary. This is, in today's climate in college, I think this group of girls and everything that's gone on with how everything is in college, this is a template and a story I think that needs to shine out there because, there's been a lot of championships in North Carolina and they paved the way. But I think this goes down as one of the great ones for all the challenges they have, and they deserve to be highlighted.
That's what I was curious about. We're so wrapped up in football changes, having general managers, NIL, the transfer portal, everything else. Basketball, you're dealing with a smaller roster size, and one player can completely change what happens on the basketball court the rest of the season. We don't think about women's soccer. We don't think about other Olympic sports and the impacts of all the things that are going on here. So you kind of touched on it there about the difficulties of trying to keep this thing going with everything else that's going on. But I guess if you're in it, you live it, you're used to it. For outsiders like me, you're just like, yeah, man, where you been? We've been trending this way the last 5 years.
Yeah. There's challenge. Every sport has a little bit different. We're in our sport, we're probably, if you guys look at it, there's more parity in our sport than any other sport, really. And there's more teams in our sport because Title IX impacted that, right? The investment in the women's game. So there's so many great programs out there, so many resources. NLI does affect, there are certain schools out there that have tons of NIL money on the women's side. I believe this, though, is if you have a commitment to on a day-to-day basis and you're good at, development wise, and you can kind of paint the picture because pro is a realistic thing. And what people don't realize as well, this is also something that people have no really idea about that are not. With all those players that went pro and then those handful that went in the portal, our three of our top recruits went pro. Didn't even come in the fall. They went pro in the spring of last year, right? And I went through the process with them. They got significant contracts. Back then they had the draft. So these teams were trying to buy their rights, so they didn't go in the draft, so they didn't lose their rights. So we lost 3 of our significant players. And in anticipation of that, I had 2 girls work towards graduating early. So 2 of our starters, Trinity and Avon, should actually be in high school right now, seniors, that started in the national championship game. So think about all those things. That's why this is such a really good story to tell. And right now it's not about chasing something and like meaning like this or that for the wrong reasons. I think if you keep the integrity of what you're trying to do and make sure you have good people around you, the character of the individual is so important nowadays. And we had that in spades this year.
Olivia Thomas is a baller, man. I don't know her story, but you found the right one there. You got to have a few of those, man.
She does.
Got to have a few of those.
She does. I mean, she had a great, youth career. She's from Michigan, and great family. Just so many great qualities. And she's slowly adding pieces to her game. She got hurt last year, so she really wasn't a factor. This year, she started off great. Got hurt again with her hamstring. She was out for a bunch of our ACC games, and then slowly integrated her back. And by the end of it, she was just at such a high level. I mean, her best game of the season was against Duke in the NCAAs, and then she just rode that wave. So, between her and Kate and Darlene, it just became a trio up top that just it worked out in the end. That's other years in the finals. We got hurt by losing players late in the year, and this was one that just kind of came together.
I'm okay with the logo. I'm okay with the sweatshirt. I've squared all of this, but the pronouns that fucking hurt, man. That us hurt. So I need you to tell me a good George Tarantini story, because yes, you got to work with an all-time great in Anson Dorrance, the best to ever do it. But what was one thing or a moment this year where maybe you heard George's voice, or you thought of a time from your own playing career?
Gosh, I have so many. I mean, we all have so many. Sorry, I'm sending a text. I'm supposed to be in a meeting right now. So give me 1 second.
We'll let you go on this, because I was also curious too.
Yeah.
You're asking for like a George Tarantini story. I'm actually more curious about, has Giglio always been like this? Because I didn't know Giglio in college.
Well, no, look.
I've only known Joe professionally. And
I mean, Tarantini stories and Joe stories could be, one and the same.
Yeah, they're one for one. Okay, it's like what did the full Giglio exist?
Oh, even worse.
Oh God, are you kidding me?
Worse. Okay, because we've had a lot of conversations about not going full Giglio.
Hey, what was the station? Remember? So me and Joe, myself, and Greg Fry. Remember the broadcast we did?
Yeah, WKNC.
What, WKNC?
WKNC. So like, I'll do the color time commentating, and we did a few games. We actually did. We're sitting there at Method Road, and we're sitting at the table, and I had no idea what the heck I was doing. And like, I swear, all Greg and I talked about was like Dumb and Dumber and like Ace Ventura. Every comment we were making, like, we're just like the ball boys and blah blah blah. Like, we had no idea what we were doing. And then we actually did the broadcast on a UNC women's and NC State women's game at dirt track on the scaffold. It was freezing. It was raining, and that might have been my last go at it, to be honest with you. But
we weren't off back. I mean,
those tapes have to be somewhere. They got to be somewhere in the building.
Nobody listened, but it was great. But no, Tarantini. Look, everyone has so many stories, and I'm not here without him. I mean, for all the craziness that he had, the one thing is I've never seen someone with so much passion and love in what he did. And he was a great recruiter. And I think in the end, he knew he needed to bring really strong people together from different places to be able to deal with him. And that's the truth. I think it was intentional, like that. He wanted people to get so close when his craziness happened that we fought together. And I thought it was intentional at times. Like, he wanted to see how strong you can be. And it was an old school. It doesn't work in this generation, right? It wouldn't have, but I have so much admiration, and more so when I got to spend time with him towards the latter part, that I really gained an appreciation. Because I would sit down with him, I'm like, what was going through you? Like, how is it possible that you did this? Like, do you realize this? The trauma that, anyway, so we used to joke about it. But Tarantini, this is really funny. So we were playing a midweek game, and so whoever it was against, and a lot of those games were against a less talented team potentially. And Tarantini would always say he wanted us to go forward all the time. Like, he never wanted us to pass it. He wanted us to dribble people, take people on, and be aggressive. So I was playing the wide, right forward, and he wanted every time the right forward or left forward had to get far post. That was his thing. You have to get far post, no matter what. If you're not far post, you basically shoot you from the sideline, basically. So anyway, we're playing, and Simon Weiss, who's from St. Louis, was on the left side. Simon's like a step over guy. Evidently, Simon, he takes a shot from like 30 yards out, and it goes past the post. There's no way. If I was Superman, I couldn't have gotten there, right? That's how far away I was. Tarantini is screaming from the sideline at me. It's like, Damon. And he would call me Damien at first just to piss me off, right? Just to piss me off. My freshman and sophomore year. Damien, he's screaming at me, Damien, far post. He would scream it, far post. And I was like, and he wouldn't stop. He was relentless. So we were back at midfield, and I could hear, he won't stop. He's like, Damien, far post. And I look over, and he's on his knees and with his hands like this. One time, far post, screaming. So no joke. I'm like so angry. I turn around and I start sprinting to the far post. I don't even know where the ball is. I start sprinting to the far post. Lo and behold, Simon Weiss must be going down the left side. That son of a gun shoots it to the far post, and it literally hits me, and it goes in the goal. And of all times I don't want to score, it's this moment right here. I get back to the middle of the field. I don't even want to look at him. He goes, Damien. I'm ignoring him. He's like, Damien. One more time, Damien. I look over, and he's like, that's my goal. That's your goal. That's my goal. So he didn't even give me credit, right? Didn't even give me credit. So it sums him up. But man, I loved him, and I owe it to him and why I'm here, and just staying here in North Carolina. So I got tons of those stories. So on another day, I can share a lot more of them as we move forward.
All right, man. We know you're busy. Got a lot of things going on. That's what happens after you win a national championship. And I'm sure recruiting doesn't stop either. It's like, oh, congratulations, you won. You're right back at it, right?
We had one on campus yesterday.
See, there you go. It never stops, man. Yeah. All right, congrats. Thanks for coming on. Thanks for making some time, and we'll talk to you.
We'll do it again. Thanks, Joe.
Thanks, Damon.
All right, guys.
Do you feel that UNC's championship is kind of like your championship too?
Of course.
Okay. Did you buy a championship shirt from home field?
I did.
Awesome.
Yeah, I'll be repping that. I'm not good in gray. It's not one of my.
I am. I'm
one of my primary
guy,
colors.
I'm a gray guy.
It's not great on my palette.
Yeah.
But I have my dark blue Carolina women's soccer repping.
I know you do.
So
head on over to homefieldapparel.com. They've got an awesome UNC women's soccer national championship shirt for sale right now. You can use that promo code OG24. Take advantage, save 15% off your order. And while you're at it, may I suggest, if you're watching on YouTube, we got that Carolina blue hoodie.
Mm-hmm.
They have matching sweatpants that go with that. And you know how I feel about
You're big on the sweatpants now.
the sweatpant epiphany that I had thanks to home field. I'm just saying, you might see me out and about at a Costco in sweatpants for once. Eyes up here, though, folks. Eyes up here, okay? Eye contact. That's all I'm saying. Big thanks to our friends at State Farm. Check them out online. InsureGarner.com is the website. You can go to theoginsurance.com as well. Or better yet, just call Matt Davis right now at 919-779-8277. Talking to an actual human?
What?
To save money on home and auto?
No.
It's crazy talk.
Get out of here.
There's no AI voice on the other end of that. There's no weird chat bot that doesn't know what you need. It's an actual person in Garner that's going to help you out with that. So contact Matt Davis, State Farm today at 919-779-8277. Now, you might be the sweatpant person that shows up to the gym because you're trying to get that maximum sweat in. I am not one of those people.
Wait, what do you work out in?
Shorts and a t-shirt.
Okay.
But I've seen people at the gym that are wearing like hoodies and sweatpants because they're like all in on just sweating as much as they possibly can.
Right. Like you're cutting weight for the wrestling match.
I get that. I am not. I am there to not be a damp cloth when I leave. Okay. Like I need to breathe. So, but however you want to do it, that's the beauty of O2 Fitness. Okay. Welcoming environment, great equipment, great staff. And obviously it is more than a gym. including Renew Physiotherapy, working on Joe's neck. I worry about you when I see like the ice pack on your neck or something like that.
Yeah, it's a process, man.
It's all in the process. Trust the process. We might be hearing that a lot.
Could be.
Might be
Do your
hearing that a
job.
lot.
Hey, do your job.
Joe. Do your job, man. Do your job. All right, Joe, let's get after it. You were at the Canes game last night. Appropriate. NC State guy for North Carolina night at the rink.
And yet Virginia Tech got a koozie in there too.
Oh, did they?
It was weird.
I didn't see that part.
Yeah.
I mean, let's talk. Look, man, I give the Canes a lot of credit because they do the absolute most on social media and they thirst trap.
Yes, they do.
They know how to thirst trap. So the whole Carolina night thing, you got Nate just wearing, Nate just looking like me in high school. Right? He's got the Charlotte Hornets jersey with the fat jeans and the undershirt with the backwards hat. I'm pretty sure I had that outfit in 1995.
Yeah. You're never that good looking though, dude.
Oh, absolutely not.
No,
absolutely not.
Especially with a Jake Del Homie.
I do
jersey.
love that. I do love that look on there. We've got Seth Jarvis with the bucket hat and a Carolina Chaos lacrosse top.
Sure.
We've got wait, who am I looking at here with the Charlotte FC? That is Jackson Blake. Thank you very much.
Yes, Jackson Blake, the youth.
I'm disappointed in myself. I'm so used to seeing these dudes in like helmets and jerseys and all that stuff that it just isn't. Sorry, I apologize. Jackson Blake stands. Please do not come after me. Thank you. Anyway, speaking of Jack Drury, very, very handsome, but Rod Brindamore not very pleased with an injury, and he's going to be out for a while. What happened yesterday? Now, first of all, Canes won. Great comeback to win that thing in the third. 2 minutes and change with Chatmandu, as Trip joked. We're taking a lovely trip to Chatmandu. The defense made up for the offense last night. Goss Spear setting things up. Brett Burns, obviously. Jalen Chatfield scores the game winner 3-2 over, as you like to call them, the JV Sharks. But hockey knowers, Joe, hockey knowers have been telling you that they've been turning things around.
I was slightly surprised because I saw them. The pregame number for this game, the betting number, was minus 550.
Mm-hmm.
That is like the equivalent of NC State playing Mercer in football, right? Like that's a huge money line. This is an NHL game. So I'm thinking, oh, they're going to roll over. They come in celebrating, look good. And they got lucky on their second goal. Gossip Spare is trying to clear it and up behind the net, hits the referee, bounces to Kunin. He takes it and stuffs it in past our guy Kochekov. We did not see the backup goalie last night. So Rod is like in full on Archer's Urbe Tyler Moss protocols right now. I was slightly surprised by that because if you're going to start someone other than Kochekov, it's going to be against the Sharks. But first 2 periods of that game, I didn't think the Canes were bad like the Seattle game. It was more of like the Sharks were kind of on it a little bit.
The Sharks were on it. I think that surprised people, including the Carolina
and the
Hurricanes.
building wasn't great.
Yeah, it's a random ass Tuesday night.
Yeah, it was a Tuesday night. You're playing San Jose.
Yeah.
You know, it wasn't outstanding. It wasn't the juices were not flowing. If we could.
My juices flow all the time.
We're not flowing all
not
the time.
on a Tuesday against San Jose.
No, not the case.
Little bit sleepy, but they played the way that they needed to. The goal by Burns against his former team, that was magical. The setup to it, the passing, really nice stuff. And then Chatfield scored a classic Canes goal. Just shoot it.
Right.
Yeah, there was nothing to it.
Which is kind of like where we're at with, say, Andrei Svechnikov. Okay, I know Chip Alexander wrote about this today in the News and Observer, but it's something that has been an ongoing discussion. Rod was asked questions about this, and Rod deflected on Svechnikov by saying, hey, a lot of guys are in a similar situation about not scoring 5-on-5. Okay, and there was and Andre gave you the whole, he affected the play elsewhere, not necessarily in generating points, or more importantly, scoring 5-on-5. It's kind of an ongoing theme here the last 2 weeks. We've seen this before with the Carolina Hurricanes. Things tend to work themselves out. However, Joe, listening to the post game from Rod Brindamore, and I feel like a new Rod Brindamore game has dropped.
I agree.
So typically, for those who are unfamiliar, Joe and I like to play the game, and Rod is aware of this. Okay, Rod is aware. We've joked with him about this. Sometimes we want to play a clip from Rod, and you tell me if he sounds like a guy who won or lost and maybe the results will shock you. They can win 5-3, and you'll be like, I didn't really like our game. They could lose 4-3 and be like, hey, look,
we controlled it. Our forecheck is going.
You know, sometimes bad puck bounce. It is what it is. But I like the way we played. Sometimes you just never know. But there's a new passive-aggressive Rod Brindamore talking point that we've picked up on as of late. Here's Chip Alexander asking about the Sharks being speedy and taking the game to you. And listen to Rod carefully.
Sharks are a quick team. They're really impressive things tonight. You had to stick with it.
Yeah, I mean, we found a way. It was not pretty. And then I thought our third period was obviously our best period. And, you sometimes when your back's against the wall, that's what ends up happening. But, you got to give them a lot of credit. I think the talent, we don't get to see them often, but certainly that number one pick is a number one pick. I'll just say that. He's a special player for that age. And you can just see he's going to be a good one.
Can you explain, Joe?
We caught this from him last year when he was talking about power plays and the relative success of their power play and how they don't, like Colorado was one of them. Well, yeah, Edmonton was another. It was like, well, yeah, we don't quite have one of those. Mm-hmm. Of course, that's what Svetch is supposed to be. The number 2 overall pick in the draft. And of course, Kotkaniemi was the 3rd pick in the same draft. Again, I'm not trying to get way too deep into this. It's more of like, as you got to remember too, he's a former player. So like he just recognizes, and then sometimes you see that skill and quite frankly, who's really been a guy like that for the Hurricanes? I mean, Ray Whitney had some great stick skills, but wasn't exactly this world-class finisher, if you will. Mm-hmm. So I find it interesting when it's game recognizes game, right? And when he played in the era that he played in, he played against the best players of all time. So he knows this, and when he knows it when he sees it, like it's porn. And I just find it, and I, quite frankly, San Jose was a disaster. They've been like this, garage sale for the last couple of years. Yeah. Hence Burns being on the Canes themselves. But you're just looking at this, and I thought for the most part, San Jose acquitted themselves. Certainly for a team that was -5, like that's embarrassing. Young Joe would have gone into the San Jose post game and been like, at what point do you feel disrespected? You're a fucking NHL team, and it's -550. Mm-hmm. Like, I know you're not supposed to be paying attention to the gambling lines, but sir, someone in your life, someone in your orbit is pointing out to you. They think you're the Bad News Bears, man.
That's terrible.
They think you're the Washington Generals.
That's terrible.
What?
Let's take a break. Let's take a hockey break. Brought to you by Happy and Hale.
Yes, our hockey break brought to you by Happy and Hale. You can check them out. Locations in the Triangle. You've got 2 in Raleigh, 1 in North Hills, 1 out in North Raleigh, and of course, 1 in Durham. Download the app today. Makes it super, super easy for you to order, pick it up, and go about your business. And trust me, it is officially Happy and Hale season with the holiday parties, the family gatherings, the rich food, the desserts, all that stuff. You got to balance that out with some really good, great meals. It's all at Happy and Hale. So check them out. Download the app today and make life super convenient for you.
We've got a lot to get to. Woo. It's a lightning round.
Let's give you a tale of 2 ACC teams in action last night, taking on not so great opponents, and both games being somewhat competitive.
Okay,
a little longer than people expected. Okay, you got Duke. The Duke's really easy to figure out, right? Incarnate Words in the building. They're just coming off, a high at home against Auburn. League play starts with Louisville, and they had Cooper Flagg in foul trouble and found a way to win in that game. So it's a little sleepy at Cameron on a Tuesday. Speaking of Tuesday nights, Tuesday night, 7:00 Cameron. That's not the kind of crowd you're looking for. Exams, all that kind of stuff, right? Turnovers were a problem for Duke, and then sure enough, things started settling down, and they ended up blowing them out. You asked about Malwatch this past week. Well, that was his game to shine. I enjoyed Debbie Antonelli breaking things down on the broadcast, saying, you want to know where Malwatch's shot production's coming from? And she just drew a small box around the rim. There. Boom. That's it. Debbie's the best.
Yeah, we're going to get Debbie on this week, next week.
So I thought that was amusing. So it's whatever with Duke. Over at NC State, though, was a Heritage game. over at Reynolds taking on Coppin State. I believe Coppin State is the second worst Ken Palm rated team.
My Ken Palm subscription is going to need to wait until after tax day, so I can't pull it up right now.
Okay. I can pull it up though.
Wasn't good, man.
No, it wasn't good.
I'll say this, and well, I saw Chip Alexander at the hockey, and no one wants to hear this. I get it. Coppin State's not good.
Yeah, see, 363 out of 364.
That's not good.
No,
I will say this in general.
Mm-hmm.
In general, the game that they play at Reynolds, they usually struggle in the first half because they don't practice over there.
Yeah.
So there's part of that. Of course, for all of these years, a big problem about playing at the Lenovo Center has been we don't practice there. So it's like,
so should they
poor NC State just pick a gym, practice in it, and play in it like
virtual games at Weisinger?
They've tried. I thought the Gottman famously put the same court in
Weisinger
at Weisinger that they had at.
No, what
PNC.
I'm saying is you actually just host games at Weisinger and you let fans watch virtually. Maybe not.
919-444-2211. Call the OG Sports phone and curse or don't.
All right, let's go to a 619 number.
Joe and Joe sitting here watching this Coppin State game in Reynolds in our prime white uniforms that are beautiful, but I'm wondering if we should retire them after this game. This has not been a great showing, obviously. I was looking through Coppin State's record, though, and 2 of their 4 closest losses were to Wake Forest and UVA. Wake Forest by 15, UVA by 17. Which, I mean, doesn't say much because maybe Coppin State is just a giant player or a giant annoyer. I'm not saying UVA and Wake Forest are giants, but, you know, they're Power 4. Which leads me to the question, am I overthinking this, or is this just another indicator that the ACC might be bad this year? I don't know. I'm sure I'm overthinking it, but thanks for taking my call.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I know the curve has been flat. I cannot come up with a reason to struggle against Coppin State, but to your point, they have at least played well against other ACC teams. What do you want me to tell you here?
They won, right?
They did.
Okay, then that's all that matters.
919-444-2211. Call the OG Sports phone and curse or don't.
Well, if it isn't our friend, the NC State moderator.
Hey, OG, it's the NC State moderator again. This is a really weird call, but I am also a really weird thing to say. It's 8:30 and I'm watching the replay of the State game because I had a busy weekend and they've got a little bit more relaxed day at the office. But this is to one particular fan that my wife and I have noticed to be pretty persistent at NC State home games. And it's the screeching defense girl. And I'm just calling to ask I love the passion. I really do. I appreciate it because I was a screamer, a yeller, but the frequency at which you're screeching actually cracked my phone screen. So 1, I'm going to send you an invoice for a new phone. 2, I just think it'd be better for your overall mental and physical health if you either picked a different frequency or just stopped altogether. A couple benefits that I've jotted down that you may appreciate from the lack of screeching. You're going to save some money on your throat doctor because I'm assuming your throat's bleeding after every game. You're also going to save money when it comes to buying throat lozenges. You won't have to buy those as much. Another thing, you'll probably have more friends. Not because of the screaming necessarily, but because of the side effects where you can't talk to people. So that's 2 benefits right there. The third, be finding a partner because I don't know anybody who would want to date that.
I'm going to pause it right there. NC State moderator, you don't know what people are into.
Mm-hmm.
This idea that you're not going to be able to date anybody. May I introduce you to the internet?
Something on there for everyone.
Something on there for everybody. So you never know. You might want to be dating somebody who is a screamer. You don't know that. You don't know what people are into. I will say this, though, about the laws. Look, do y'all not listen to death metal? Do y'all not listen to people who sing like this? There's techniques. You don't need all the things that you're talking about. Sometimes you just need tea, buddy. It's all good. But yes, I know the state fan or the I think it's in the band. The person's in the band that has that high pitched
because it's got to be somewhere near the mic.
And yeah, honestly, it's somewhat impressive. But I just wanted to stop the NC State moderator right there and just remind you, you never really want to know what people are into. I'm just saying. All right, last item in the lightning round. If you needed further proof that the landscape of college sports is changing, may I introduce to you the new Cooper flag. Cooper flag's already in college. We've moved on.
Black Cooper flag.
Is Cooper flag the pre-gentrified version of AJ Dybansta?
Yes.
Is that it? Okay, I just wanted to double check on that. So this guy is the top recruit in 2025. People are already talking about him as the number one pick in the draft. He goes on First Take yesterday. Kansas is in the mix. Carolina's in the mix. All right, he's wearing blue. Where could he be going? Wait, BYU? So Stephen A. Smith asks him, all right, man, First Take. Why BYU?
First things first, why BYU?
I mean, a lot stood out on my visit. Obviously, Coach Kevin Young there. My ultimate goal is to get to the NBA.
Mm-hmm.
And, he coached one of my favorite players, my favorite player of all time, Kevin Durant. And he had high praise about him. So, I wanted my visit, head coach all the way down to analytics guy all the way to the dietitian, is all NBA staff, even the strength coach. So, if it's all NBA, I'm trying to get to the NBA. I think it's going to be the best development program for me.
Shannon, go ahead. Shannon's sharp as always.
AJ, I know you want to be the best AJ you can possibly be, and you mentioned Kevin Durant. Is that one of the players that you pattern your game after?
KD, my favorite player. I take a lot from his game, but I don't think I play like him. I think he really one-on-one.
Okay.
So who do you play like?
I play like a mix of Tracy McGrady and
Shai Gilgeous-Alexander.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
There you go. Going to BYU.
Can you play the beginning of the clip just for me one more time?
I already closed it out. Why? Why?
I believe he said he went on campus and a lot stood out to him.
A lot stood out to him, Joe. Just leave it there.
Can I call timeout and just have Bomani come in and finish this portion so I don't get in trouble?
We'll just leave it there. We'll just leave it at that. So yeah, man, NIL, baby. NIL. And maybe the campus visit. Who knows?
Sure.
Yeah, it is what it is. So if apparently, I'm looking at Field of 68's newsletter, reportedly $5 million plus in NIL numbers. We'll see how much is left for the rest of the team. We've seen this kind of stuff before, but this is one of those situations that is just reminding you that the college landscape is completely different. And this is the type of player that you would usually assume would go to a Duke, a Kentucky, a Kansas, or a Carolina. And there are I don't think it's overblown to bring up the fact that you can look at Carolina, specifically Carolina, and ask the question, are you playing the game right? Have you adapted? Do you understand how things have changed?
The price of poker has gone up.
And this idea that, well, we're Carolina. We got Michael Jordan. What's your favorite thing to bring up all the time when it comes to Carolina?
The color of the shorts.
Cool. Does that stuff matter anymore? To a certain extent, it might. But at the end of the day, we now know that players are asking straight up, what do you got for me? And there's some programs that are going to come kicking and screaming along the way. And these are just questions I have for Carolina. I understand I don't know the ins and outs of this, but I also can see what is going on and how some people talk about what's going on and how people are acting on what's going on. I know Duke is acting on what's going on. I don't know if I can say the same thing about North Carolina. I don't know. I really don't know if I can say the same about North Carolina. So it's those types of things that I find curious.
And isn't Duke a little bit of a test case this year? Because the teams who have been winning this tournament in the NCAA
Mm-hmm.
have been the old teams.
Yes.
So I don't have a problem per se if you're going to just say, I'm going old, I'm getting players, I'm going to redo this thing every year. I don't necessarily have a problem.
Don't mind that.
But if you're going to go young, well, let's see what Duke does this year. If they are to win the national championship this year, it will be on the backs of their 3 outstanding freshmen.
From On 3, Ohio lawmaker wants to make a flag planting situation a felony after the Ohio State-Michigan game. State Representative Josh Williams, Republican from Sylvania Township, introduced the Ohio Sportsmanship Act. And it's O.H.I.O. Sportsmanship Act. The act would make it a felony offense to plant the flag in the center of Ohio Stadium.
A felony, not a misdemeanor.
No, a felony.
Not a ticket. Felony.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you want to know why a lot of us cannot quit college sports, specifically college football, it's shit like this.
Also, do we have a DraftKings ad today?
We can do one.
I mean, you're over here worried about flag planting. Give me Tennessee. Those fans are going to be wound so tight.
Please. Yes, let's do a DraftKings. We have 2 this week, so this will be our second one.
Okay.
So use the promo code OG24 when you use the DraftKings Sportsbook app as a new customer. Yes, NFL season is rolling along. DraftKings is the place you want to be betting touchdowns on, all right? It's an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. Number 1 place to bet touchdowns. But as Joe and I like to tell you, there's a lot of fun and frivolity to be had with some of those college games as well. And you're already thinking about this Tennessee-Ohio State game, huh?
Tennessee's getting 7.5. Never mind that. Plus 230 on the money line. Give me the Vols to go in there and make those people miserable.
Is North Carolina just waiting for Ohio State to get beat by Tennessee?
Maybe.
Is that what's going on? Are they playing?
Really what the long game
is? That what the long game here is? Are they just stringing Bill Belichick along with a negotiation so that they can actually wait out for Ryan Day to leave Herb Sendek style from Ohio State to take the Carolina job? Is that where we're at? Just a possibility.
Long games in play.
Hey, man. It's just a possibility. Anyway, check out the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Again, they got all sorts of great stuff, single game parlays, but touchdowns. Touchdowns are a lot of fun. Really easy way to get into it. And DraftKings doesn't care how you get them. They just want you to bet on touchdowns, and DraftKings is the best place to do it. So score big with DraftKings Sportsbook, the number 1 place to bet touchdowns. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use the code OG24. Again, that's code OG24. For new customers, you'll get $150 in bonus bets if your bet wins when you bet just $5. Only on DraftKings. The crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas, 21 and over. Age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Bet must win to receive reward. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/ftball.
Big thanks to Hometown Realty. Maybe you are a coach that's looking for a program to take on all your demands. Like you have some non-negotiables, okay? Maybe that's the case with your home. You're looking to buy a house and you got some non-negotiables. I want an island kitchen. I need 3 bath. I need updated backyard furniture. I need not furniture, but like an outdoor patio setup. I need all these things. Non-negotiable, Joe.
72 years old, you probably want a downstairs master bedroom too.
Easily. Your knees, those stairs, nah, you don't want that. You got to save those knees if you catch my drift. Now, what you need to do is you need to go with your non-negotiables to Hometown. Yeah, there you go, Joe. Go to Hometown Realty, myhtr.com. they can help you on your non-negotiables about what you want in your house. Might be new construction, which they can help you with things like incentives.
You know who else has non-negotiables? People who want to give you a guaranteed offer. Okay. Let's not lose money.
Speaking of contracts, do you have a contract that stipulates your child needs to be taking over when you're done? Well, do we have some lawyers for you? Whitaker and Hamer. Check them out, wh.lawyer.
If they're smart enough to have the world's greatest URL, they're smart enough to help you with all of your legal needs. It's wh.lawyer.
And of course, our friends at Nature's Relief. Check them out online at naturesreliefhempstore.com. It's a very stressful time of the year. You got to go shop. You have various parties and obligations to attend to. Joe's laughing at the shopping thing because he doesn't do the shopping because he's a real man.
No, I don't know how to shop on the Amazons.
So funny to me. So funny to me. One of these days, I'm going to get you on an indica. I'm going to get you on an indica sativa blend, and we're going to sit you in front of Amazon, and you're just going to have actually, no, we're going to get you on the U-Line catalog and just have you just flipping through while you're just, just vibing. Like, oh, dude, can you imagine if we had this storage box? Man, we need 48 of those. But you got family to deal with. You know the easiest way to deal with family? naturesreliefhempstore.com.
Talk to them?
No. Vibe. That's what you need to do. Just vibe. naturesreliefhempstore.com. Joining us on the Heister Automotive Group hotline, he is the president and executive director of the Military Bowl Foundation. He is Steve Beck, and you're bringing North Carolina, you're bringing our area to you up in Annapolis. I'm excited about this with NC State and ECU.
Yeah, bringing them up to our sunny state of Washington, D.C. and Annapolis, so they can get out of that cold weather down there and see what it's like up here.
Well, there's the one thing y'all have up in Annapolis that I'm very, very familiar with that we do not really have here, and that's a damn good crab cake. I'm just saying. That's worth the price of admission.
Yeah, we got some good food up here, not just crab cakes, and we'll have a lot of it at our tailgate, a bunch of different, Taste of Maryland if they're out there. We're really looking forward to it.
Obviously, the local community is used to one rivalry in Army Navy, but how do you feel about getting these two teams together from North Carolina? You've had North Carolina before, you've had Duke before, you've had Wake before, you've had good games before, but I don't feel like you've had a matchup like this before. Maybe Cincinnati, Virginia Tech would be the closest, but this feels like a really good game for you guys, a win.
Yeah, I mean, we're really excited. It is, especially East Carolina loves playing North Carolina State. I don't know how much North Carolina State, they seem very excited and happy to be coming up here. And, after the way they finished their season, winning 3 out of their last 5, beating UNC in that, 35-30, sort of a crazy game. And then on the other side, you got ECU, sort of the same situation. They won 4 out of 5 after starting bad. They let their coach Mike Houston go and came back with Blake Harrell and won 4 out of 5. He earned the job and hopefully keeping his players there. During this transfer portal. So I think he's losing a few, just like every team will, and you just adjust and go from there.
Bowl season has changed so much just in your tenure there at the Military Bowl. With the first year of the playoff, is it almost reassuring to you now that you get a game like this, that you feel like there is still, that this can still matter, not only to obviously these teams, but the Annapolis community that has supported your game?
Yeah, I think bowls are still significant. I mean, you look at what are these other teams going to do, and how big is the playoff going to get? There's always, I think, going to be a need for bowls, especially if you talk about, there's a lot of talk about creating a super league where you have 70, 80 teams and it's a north, south, east, and west. Well, they would do that for, the Power 4 and then do a separate one for the Power 5. Well, the Power 5, they need bowls, especially. I mean, the Group of 5. But if you look at, I think that it's going to be interesting to see how the fans react. If they have to go to 4 games to watch the national championship. The first one is at home, so that's not that big of a deal. But if you start traveling and spending that kind of money, I think people are going to adjust. But we'll see. I'm still excited for it. I mean, I think it's great for college football overall. Mm-hmm. still have the same number of bowl games, coincidentally, the way it worked out with the 12-team playoffs. So, we're embracing it and hope it's as good as we think.
Well, I mean, I think destinations matter too, where these bowl games are played. And like I said, as we said from the start of the conversation, I'm a huge fan of Annapolis. Downtown Annapolis is very cool, very historic, great shops, great restaurants, all that stuff. And if you need a football team to get you out of your comfort zone to go to a place you've never been before, then I'm all for it. My curiosity is, and I don't know how much you can say, but I know locally there are some people who don't want to see this matchup because, well, NC State and ECU see each other on occasion. And also there's some history as well. You go all the way back to the 1992 Peach Bowl. Now, for the younger audience, they might have no idea what we're talking about. Maybe their parents went to it and they're still kind of salty about it. So there's a lot of feelings that go into this. When you talk to the individual schools, I can imagine ECU was all on board for this, but what kind of conversations took place with NC State and how these things play out and how you guys came together for this matchup?
It was an interesting couple of weeks. There was some talk about us taking Navy or Army or who we were going to go with. They're playing the Army-Navy game right in our backyard on Saturday. And then in 2 weeks, to have that team back again doing the same stuff because we stay in Washington, D.C.
Right.
We spend the whole week with the teams. They see all the malls, monuments, and all that. So we chose ECU, and then if you're looking at the other side, who would we choose that would be even close to as good as ECU? Georgia Tech. We had there of the teams that were down and at that level, there was a clear leader for NC State to try and create that cross-state rivalry and get some motivation going. Plus, we've had ECU before. They 1.5 times. I mean, they traveled probably 20,000 people when it was Maryland. It was a great game. We had over 40,000. Ralph Friedgen's last game. And then, of course, the disaster in 2021 when Boston College backed out 26 hours before the game. But the ECU fans were here, I'll tell you that. I just hope that the NC State fans look at that as sort of a challenge and come up here. It really is. I mean, of course, I'm biased, but we have so much stuff going on and so many activities. It's just a great trip.
I will be there Saturday, December 28th, Annapolis. My favorite thing of going to any Navy game, how some other schools, they have, 2014 Military Bowl champions, 1992 Peach Bowl champions. The Navy Stadium has World War I, World War II. Okay.
Back to back.
These are ours, all right?
Back-to-back champs.
I love that. I love seeing that. But what's the best way to get people there, Steve? I know militarybowl.org. You can buy tickets on the website, but what's the best way for people to get tickets?
Yeah, that's the best way to get tickets. Of course, they're out there all over the secondary market too, but either from the schools directly, so from East Carolina or NC State or militarybowl.org. I will say we're just about completely sold out of all the VIP areas, which went really quick. There's still a lot of great tickets available, but we are selling tickets pretty good. I will say. I mean, it's not Virginia Tech, Cincinnati good, but it's up there. It's better than Temple UNC was. Let's put it that way. So, and again, we have so much stuff going on. The day before, we have the Miracle on West Street in downtown Annapolis with the Budweiser Clydesdales and a bunch of different tents for selling merchandise and food and that kind of stuff. And then the next day we have the parade, which goes up into the tailgate. We'll have Jimmy Charles from Nashville will be there playing live, and boy, we'll have a lot of people in there, probably at least 10,000 people, I would think. And then, of course, the game inside one of the coolest stadiums there is. I think you were talking about Lou Holtz. They have all these names of all these battles that they've been in. And the first time he ever came there and said, wow, these guys play a heck of a schedule. So.
Fantastic. Steve Beck, President, Executive Director of the Military Bowl Foundation. I know you got Army Navy coming up, which is a big deal. I know Bill Belichick is usually a part of this. If you see him, tell him we said hello. I don't know. Maybe we'll see him in Chapel Hill soon. I really don't know. I'm just saying, if you see him, tell him we said hello.
I certainly will. Thanks so much, guys.
Thanks, Steve.
Appreciate the time. Take care.
Big thanks to Mosquito Authority and Pest Authority. Check them out online at bugsbite.com. With Mosquito Authority and Pest Authority, you can bundle and save. You're not thinking about mosquitoes right now. I understand that. But December will be over before you know it. If we make it through December, everything's going to be all right once you get to the spring if you contact bugsbite.com. They get you set up for your spring and summer right now. Things like misting systems and whatnot. In the meantime, they can take care of the inside of your home with all this moisture going on. Again, that's bugsbite.com. It is the holiday season, and whoop-de-doo, hickory dock, you're probably going to be on the road. May I suggest you go to Breeze Through, fill up your gas tank, get some snacks,
Is that a
grab
Dabo
some beer.
reference?
No. It's a song.
Oh.
It's the holiday season, whoop-de-doo, hickory dock, something, fill up your stock. You never heard that song?
I thought it was a Dabo.
No.
Got that drip.
What, the old Sweeney?
Hickory dickory dock.
Old Sweeney two pair? Anyway, get your snacks, get your, you're off to a party. You gotta get some beer, just to like provide something to the BYOB.
Well,
and man, Breeze Through's got you.
Sunday, I'm headed to the Breeze Through to get my natty lights.
Let's freaking go. We'll also on Sunday be grilling up some dogs from our friends, the Butcher's Market. So head on to thebutchersmarkets.com. You can get your catering needs taken care of. You can also get some, you do a little home gating for all these bowl games that are taking place, right? Butcher's Market has exactly what you need. So go check them out, thebutchersmarkets.com.
Better yet, you're having a tailgate. You need those hot dogs. I can't wait for people to have these hot dogs.
I know you're
on
hyped
Sunday.
about this.
I love these hot dogs.
I know you're hyped.
Are you what's that stuff called? Sauerkraut kind of guy?
I love sauerkraut.
Okay.
I also like my dogs burnt.
Yeah. There's people who like that.
I like a burnt dog with some sauerkraut and the ground mustard.
Okay.
That's what I'm all
We're
about.
on it.
All right, let's get out of here on some Hey Joe. Ladies and gentlemen, the YouTube comment sections were popping yesterday.
Let's go.
From Blind Lemon Jello, sooner or later, the Wolfpack would have to deliver a national championship somewhere. Might as well be with Carolina. See?
Yeah.
The Wolf blood coming through.
Well, Lemon Jello, they've won a couple of cross-country things recently. Come on.
I know. From B-Way92, as an NC State fan, if UNC hires Bill Belichick, we beat them in the Carter. Oh boy, NC State fans will never let them forget it. And that's what I keep telling some NC State fans who are like, oh my God, like, are they getting like, no. Think of the possibility of what would happen if Dave Doran beats Bill Belichick. Think about that. It's on the table.
Yeah. Okay.
Or as Spencer Hall and the crew over at Shutdown Fullcast, like, imagine watching a Thursday night football game, Bill Belichick on the sideline with this man running it up 21-0 on you, and it's Brent Key and the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets as a dog. Because what do they do?
No, you do not.
Right?
Don't mess with
Exactly.
GT is a double digit.
From Mike, in regards to who else should be the coach, Jeff Saturday was mentioned, but could the interim just be removed from Freddie Kitchens? I personally do not want Bill Belichick as the coach. I don't think he would be that good. I could be wrong, sure, but it just doesn't seem to fit. Again, as we've talked about a lot, fit matters here. I mean, to use a phrase from Bubba Cunningham, fit is Bill Belichick at a school that is already in position to be a football powerhouse. I'm not quite sure that North Carolina is in that position. From CYA, as a State fan, this could have some serious consequences, but also it would be really funny too. Again, that's the way to look at it, man. From Cotton Pine Sap, seems like there's some confusion about heat between the two teams, ECU and NC State, after the 1992 Peach Bowl. The heat comes from the vandalism in Raleigh after the 1987 game. Just FYI. Should be a good game.
I'm going to bite my tongue on that one.
You want to save that for the mailbag?
Yeah. Like I'm pleading the fifth.
Oh, okay. Let's see, from QC. So you're telling me Bill's going to pull a Calipari, bring a national championship, and additional CFP appearances to North Carolina? That sounds awful. Where do I sign up? That's not the point that I was making. That's not the point that I was making. Kentucky's built to win national championships in basketball. North Carolina is not built.
They don't play Georgia Tech next year.
Oh, damn it. That sucks. The point that I'm making is at some point, it's not about NFL pipelines. That's a recruiting tactic. I'm not dismissing that. Every college coach talks about their NFL pipeline. There's a reason why they have pictures of all their NFL guys in the weight rooms and things like that. What I'm talking about is, are you wired and are you speaking to college kids in a way that will translate to winning on the football field? Because that's ultimately what boosters care about. That was my only point. Rumor around UNC Carborough, I see what you did there, Scott, is that the sticking point is the contract, is that Bill requests that his girl, okay, I've seen that. Yes, the sorority dude. She's 24. She's not in college anymore, guys.
Apparently she does want to pursue a graduate degree.
That's cool. But
I got that from a pretty good source yesterday.
That's cool.
A really good source.
As I highlighted from the Ross tweets, she's following a bunch of stuff at North Carolina now. But she's not a 19-year-old college student is my point.
I won't do that. I'm going to be a bigger person.
Okay, be a bigger person. From Lumpy, Belichick at UNC would be great for the Heels, ACC and state. Yeah, see where you're going with that. From Josh, how can Bill be playing with UNC when he has presented the team with a 400-page agreement and already said yes, and now it's up to UNC? You MFers have been dead wrong from the jump about this entire hire and calling it a shit show, yet UNC is about to hire the GOAT and start getting all the good players trying to make it to the league, and a natty run isn't off the table either. Give me Chapel Bill. Man, I love this. What else are we here? It's the Joes from Rob Say. If the ball's truly in UNC's court on the matter, many can't see why they would reject him. Again, I think that it comes down to here are all these demands, knowing full well you're not going to meet those demands, including your non-starter, right? My personal favorite comment from YouTube yesterday. Ted Lasso didn't coach to win, but look at the success he had. Homeland 80. That's a fucking TV show on Apple. Get in the fucking real world. Owen, did I miss the Roback OG hoodie drop? Yes, you did.
Because Bill Belichick and Ted Lasso.
Oh, same guy.
Did you people not hear Gronkowski and Brady say how this is going to go?
I was talking.
Did you not listen to what the guys who actually played for him and won him the Super Bowls said how this is going to go?
It's a very good point. I was talking to somebody yesterday who would know, and he said to me, these delusional Carolina people, let's say Bill does take the job. These delusional Carolina people who think it's going to be some sort of like NFL hangout with Tom Brady and the crew are sorely mistaken. They can't stand him.
Gentrified Deion Sanders project.
I got to pull that clip. Shout out to Shelby, who texted me yesterday. She goes, both of you got me yesterday. I said, what? She's like, you with the Glorilla reference and Giglio talking about gentrified Deion. I was like, yeah, that was pretty good.
Their schedule next year is garbage. It was garbage this year.
Yeah.
Wow. Their two toughest games next year, they play Clemson and Syracuse.
From Donald, unless Tom Brady is coming with Billy, this will be a disaster. Flag it. Okay. From Revisited.
It's going to be a disaster.
It won't be a disaster.
Their schedule, they literally could get anyone to coach the team next year. What did Mac Brown go this year?
What was it? 6-6?
6-6. They literally can get anyone to go 6-6. Mm-hmm. If you don't lose games as a double-digit favorite, you're 8-4.
Yeah.
If you win your coin toss games next year, you're 10-2.
Mm-hmm.
Without knowing anybody on the roster. I know Amari and Hampton is not going to be there next year.
Yes.
I get that, but you're presumably you're going to bring in good players on a 1-year basis here.
From James, UNC African American Studies program walks so NIL could run. I see what you did there. Let's see what else we have here.
I'll get to my favorite.
It's right here. Heels Fan 65.
Worst in America.
This might be the worst sports podcast in America. Go back to the disaster called the News and Observer. I'm actually disappointed in this comment on several levels. The number one being the rules are you should call it the News and Disturber.
Yeah.
Number one rule, y'all. And you missed the assignment. But America, Joe.
America, I feel like you're limiting us. I know. That hurts, man. I want the whole world. I want world domination. The worst. And yet you felt compelled to come here and leave a comment.
That's the YouTube algorithm.
You know
what
hurts though.
What hurts?
You know what really hurts? Heel fan
okay.
65.
Here we go.
I know it hurts, buddy. That estate guy who graduated, worked for 25 years at the #1 newspaper and the #1 television station. What, without your degree? How did he do it? I know you want everything. You want everything, including the media. But sorry, man. Couldn't make it. Couldn't happen. My bad. And here I am.
919-444-2211. Call the OGs for tone and curse or don't.
All right, this is from a 919 number.
Hey guys, just finished the episode December 9th, and I have to say the end of it, where Ovies is going full violent mode on all the Dean Smith analogies. Amazing. I've listened to it twice. I plan to listen to it a few more times. I need more of that. That is classic Ovies. I love it. Get angry more often. Thanks, guys.
Man,
that was a non-dressed up truth bomb. Is what that was.
Yeah, that's what that was. That and that was natural and in the moment. Truth bombs was always staged, scripted, that kind of stuff. But in that moment, I was triggered by some of the TikTok and Instagram reel comments about Dean Smith, and he was hung in effigy. Like, come on, yo, let's not keep bringing up that story. But I'm glad you enjoyed it. I'm glad my anger can bring you some holiday cheer. As somebody pointed out to me on. It was somebody on Twitter. I forgot who it was. I don't have it in front of me. She's like, it was the Merry Christmas after you said fucking stop it got me. I was like, yeah. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year. Anyway, that's going to wrap it up for this edition.
We think. Well, this edition, yeah.
This edition.
There's emergencies that need to be had.
Yeah, OG 306 is done. It's over.
I feel like a kid waiting for Santa to write me back a little bit.
A little bit?
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe I'll go race the Easter Bunny in the parking lot too.
Well, tell you, don't get a ticket.
I got 2 of those yesterday.
Yeah, I know. We had a full day yesterday.
What a day yesterday,
we had to do, we had a technical glitch.
What a day.
It completely ruined my OG 305 Dale.
But I saw Joey Wags yesterday, delivered some of that swag. I know we got people coming up today. Ken gets his swag today.
Nice.
So you know what? Wasn't a terrible day. We rallied just like the Hurricanes did in the third period.
Look, dude, it's Jimmy V week at ESPN. You could just take the Jimmy V mantra, right?
It's a full day.
It's a full day, baby. It's a full day. We'll see you maybe later today, or otherwise we'll see you for OG Live. Either way, the next show we do will be live.
Yeah.
So we'll see you then.